Trump says plans are already in the works for an executive order to end the use of mail-in ballots before the 2026 midterm election.
He says the method is vulnerable to election fraud. Joining us now is constitutional law expert Robert McWhorter. Thank you so much for being with us this morning.
My pleasure.
So just first of all, does the president actually have constitutional authority to do this?
Nope.
That's okay.
This seems to be a trend when we call you Robert.
Can you take us through that, though? There are provisions within the Constitution that this is not supposed to happen.
First of all, the original Constitution gives the federal government no power over election administration. That was all left to the states, and there was a reason why. The framers of our Constitution looked across the Atlantic, and they saw what Napoleon Bonaparte was doing to the French Republic, and they wanted to assure that no federal official could put themselves in the place of a dictator and control all aspects of elections. So they left all of that to the states to do. Now, there are only 4 provisions in the Constitution that were added later that changes that. The 15th Amendment says states can't prevent people from voting because they're persons of color. The 19th Amendment says you can't prevent women from voting. The 22nd Amendment says you can't have poll taxes. And the 26th Amendment says you can't prevent 18-year-olds from voting. So those are federal laws and federal foundations. But barring that, the federal government, and including the president, has no power at all. And any power that they have under those amendments are actually for Congress to do, not for the president of the United States. So if you go back to the owner's manual, which is the Constitution, the president has no power at all to do anything like this.
Interesting. Okay, and of course, this is not the first time we're seeing President Trump attack election integrity, want to change things when it comes to voting rights. This is something we've seen from him. Of course, we have many instances of this. This is just the latest. Why does he keep pushing in this direction if you feel like the Constitution's not going to allow him to change anything?
Well, because it kind of fits his crazy narrative that somehow he lost an election because of fake voting and mail-in voting, and he's going to fix all that to assure democracy. The trouble is there's no facts that show that. Mail-in voting is proven to be fair. It's proven to be allow people to vote. And I'll tell you, the odd thing is it's going to hurt Republicans more than Democrats who vote by mail in a greater proportion than Democrats do. Well,
he at one point in time actually was encouraging mail-in voting.
Oh, yeah, sure. Look, I mean, if you just kind of look at this, the way it works, a lot of the quote unquote red states that vote Republican are rural, and people who are living in rural, large geographic areas like to mail in vote because they don't have to drive 40 miles to a polling place. So this is going to, that's just one instance of why Republicans tend to vote by mail more than Democrats do. So really, I mean, in terms of the facts of that, he keeps rehashing this to create a narrative. And frankly, when he's taking advice from Vladimir Putin, who is a vicious dictator, not only of other countries, but also his own people, for advice on voting, I think that kind of tells you something, that something's amiss here.
Yeah, it is all very interesting. Some experts say that he is laying the groundwork in case Republicans lose control in future elections, that he's doing this to already make people feel like elections are unfair.
Yeah, because then he can create a narrative. This is just ugly politics and spin. So he wants to create a narrative that the only way I lose is if they cheat. Well, no, he's going to lose because people don't like his policies, or not. I mean, the midterms are always a referendum on the president, much more than they are necessarily a referendum on given congresspersons running. And his policies have proven to be quite unpopular. And so he's laying the groundwork for an excuse as to why he may do poorly in midterm elections.
Robert McWhorter, thank you so much for being with us to break this down this morning.
My pleasure.
California Democrats unveiled their plan to combat Texas's attempt to send more Republicans to Congress.
The Democrats say redrawn congressional district maps